Today we have SUZGO, who happens to be a dear friend of mine from high school. So you're going to be getting the real wisdom of somebody who has known me for a very long time. It's a very, very,
Absolutely.
very dear friend. Love her to bits and pieces. But I'm going to introduce you all to her because, well, you don't know her like I do. So SUZGO is a life and an Enneagram coach, facilitator, and poet who will soon be adding radio presenter to her many skill sets. A champion for people with a motto of the stage of life is a big enough for everyone to shine. And that is absolutely true. That's Susie all the way. She's passionate about people reaching their fullest potential and has had the privilege of being the host facilitator of various conferences, such as hosting Heaven Conference. Love that. Cape Town, and Grand Scale Emporium, Cape Town, just to name a few. Welcome, SUZGO, and thank you for coming to the Black Swan Life.
Thanks, Chengi. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. I'm always trying to get you. You know that I am always trying to get you, but you posted something on your WhatsApp stories and I was like, girl, we're discussing this, right? And you were like, I'm in. So today we're going to be talking about unlearning how women see men. And obviously with everything going on in the world, the rate of suicide for men, I think we might be missing something because we know that a lot of this suicide has to do with relationships. And so maybe we could learn a thing or two. So SUZGO, tell us about yourself, anything that I missed out on, and what makes you passionate about men. I know you're passionate about everybody, but I know you have a particular soft spot for men. So let's hear it.
So thanks for that beautiful intro, Chengi. I think it pretty much sums up, who I am. Champion for people. We want people to succeed. Everybody's so unique. And I think if people could understand and embrace their uniqueness, they'll know that they actually have something to offer. We don't need to be cloning each other at all. And my heart for men is, when you have a desire for people to have real, beautiful, authentic relationships. And in as much as, we know in quotes, it's a patriarchal, society, guys have feelings too. Newsflash, men have feelings. And funny enough, I've spoken to a lot of guys who are like, it would just be nice to be heard. And that sounds so absurd in a world where everybody feels, but you're the alpha males always speaking and getting, to speak. But it's, I'm passionate because I've spent time talking to them because they want to be heard. And so if we can start to navigate together, then the hope is that we will have beautiful, authentic relationships where everybody is flourishing. So I'm very passionate for these guys because, I've had guys say to me, "Sis, look, we walk around and we're in silent pain. That's what it is." And that just blew my heart,
Yeah. What do you think makes them feel like they can open up to you? What is it about you that maybe women could learn to be or grow into that makes men just feel safe to be open and honest with you? What do you do? Who are you? What's the secret sauce? Because I'm sure them women dying to have that superpower.
Girl, drink water and pray. That's what you need.
Yes.
Yeah. My brand is like authenticity, and if I'm going to be really honest, I honestly just feel that it's just the grace of God, to be honest. And from a practical perspective, it's just the ability to listen, without interjection, without preconceived ideas. And that preconceived ideas thing is very difficult because you have to master it in terms of, I'm just giving you the space to speak with zero judgment. And that takes a lot of your own inner work because whatever it is that you have inwardly will exude outward, and I think I've been doing the inner work without knowing it for a very, very long time. I obviously, coming from the family that I was in, so my parents divorced when I was very young. And I kind of, I saw both sides of the story. I saw my mom being hurt, but I also saw my dad not being able to navigate and speak,
Right.
Kind of see both sides of the stories and you're like, where are we missing it? You know? And I'll never forget, like a couple, when we were younger, my dad's girlfriend said to us, your dad's was crying because it's like his children won't talk to him about stuff. And I'm like, in which space are we going to talk to him about? Because it was just not a safe space. And he genuinely had a desire, but didn't know how to navigate. Right. And I think that really just stuck with me, that people have a desire, men have a desire, they just don't know how to navigate in that. If I may, there was something very interesting one guy said to me. He said, you know what, Suze, I get stressed at work like everybody else. You know, if you're in toxic environments, you also coming home, you also want to offload. But the moment she starts speaking first and sharing how bad her day was, I retreat. I give the solutions, and I just keep going silently. Yeah. Until your body starts to give way, because you're internalizing things and you're getting sick and you know, and I'm just like, again, you're like, people need to be having conversations where he also wants to say something, but she won't know how to navigate that if he's also not articulating it, you know, as well. So nobody's asking the questions. And it's like, if I say, I'm going to be perceived as weak because, you know, men and ego. So it's about creating a safe space where you can say, how was your day? Let me listen to you. And I think, you know, that's really it. People, they want somebody to genuinely listen. I had an ex-boyfriend, you know, I can talk stories forever. I had an ex-boyfriend who said to me, he said, Suze, so obviously when I listened to the relationship, it was very toxic. They were very young and all these different things. They couldn't talk to each other. But I'll never forget what he said to me. He said, when I went to the bar, I didn't go to the bar looking for an affair. Right. Triggered me was I was at the bar, and he says, it was bizarre that this woman next to him said, are you okay? And would you like me to just listen to what's bothering you? He said that triggered something, because he was like, the intent wasn't to go have an affair, but there was somebody who just wanted to listen without an agenda. Absolutely. So I think that for me, you know, and I gave a very long answer to your question, but it's just the ability to really listen with as much zero judgment, you know, as possible. That, I guess, gives people this, you then have this aura where people just feel safe around you, you know, because what you continuously do, you exude, you know. If you're happy, you know, then people around you are like, oh, you've just got such great energy. And if you're negative, it's the exact same thing. So that attracts people. Because it literally, I can count in how many minutes when I sit down with a guy, like within 5 minutes, we're deep, you know, deep talking, you know. So I think that's what that is. It's safe. Absolutely. And what I'm hearing you say is women must evolve and develop the conscious awareness that men have a desire to be heard. And whilst that seems so simple, and obviously I work with a lot of women, and particularly the reason I'm particularly good at relationships with men and helping them develop good relationships, because I spend a lot of time talking to men. And like you, they feel, oh my God, they love it. They want to open up and tell me everything. And I think because of the work that I do, they feel like I'm going to be like a great advocate, because they're hardly ever heard, right? And we try, and I'm sure you and I, because we're very similar, to listen without judgment. And I think that when women become consciously aware, and this is a really valuable thing and a tool to have, that desire, that intention to listen, and to listen without judgment. I believe that if women would embody what you were discussing and practice what you're discussing, then a lot of the emotional attachment that they're looking to build with men that they're dating or in their marriage, that's going to happen way quicker and deeper. What I always say to women is, we're out here selling our bodies and putting them on display and coaxing the sexual attraction of a man. And of course, we've got to present ourselves, look pretty, do our best. But men are actually hoping to make an emotional connection more than we think as women. And a lot of the promiscuity that we observe in men often is them looking for an emotional connection, but the only one they're allowed to have is when they're naked. In that moment, right? Because we've been taught that, we've seen our fathers who were the silent types,
We have seen protocols of silent men. So we've normalized that they have nothing to say. And so for you as a child, you had the privilege of actually figuring this out, that, oh, dad wants to say something and he doesn't get to.
Yeah.
That's a gift, because many women wouldn't have had that gift.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think are the misconceptions that we as women have of men? Maybe 2 or 3, the major ones, or the ones that men express to you that they're feeling from women in terms of being misunderstood or misconceptions. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you kind of touched a little bit on that. So it's quite funny. It's not funny, but it's funny. We also want to be dealt with tenderly. I also want to be romanced and made to feel like I don't have to be this macho thing in quotes. I don't know where everybody got this thing. I like softness and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so awesome, when you hear these guys are like, I also want to be, because you're like, really? Like, yeah. Who gave that narrative that I didn't want that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a big one, Chengi, because nobody thinks about it. It's like, everything is positioned for the women. Oh my, she must get flowers. She must this, she must that. Oh, it's Valentine's if you do that whole thing. And what about him? He also wants tenderness. He also wants gentleness. I mean, look, case in point, where I'm daddy's girl. I mean, if we just look, and I digress at the word, Samson and Delilah, like, really? Not know what was gonna happen, but that softness, that caressing, that yeah. So that's something that's really come up.
I love that
a lot of time. Yeah. And this one was a very interesting one as well, because I'm like, okay, it was like guys are like, Suz, and they're like, we know it's not all men, because we do know that this is not fared well for a lot of people, but as a man, and this was really about the partners, like as a man, if I meet a woman and she needs help genuinely, I will genuinely help you with no agenda.
Right.
I'm not trying to get into your knickers. I've got a relationship already.
Right.
So I'm helping you because you're a human being and you need help.
Right.
And then women who are like, why is he helping me? It's not that deep. I'm helping you because you need help, And granted, we, not all men are like that, granted, but here we are trying to push for the guys that are like, they are people like, there's no hidden agenda. I'm just trying to help you and I'm keeping it moving, because, women quickly romanticize things.
Right.
Quickly. I'm just trying to, like he just moved like he must want me. Like he doesn't. Partner, or he doesn't have a partner, but he's just trying to be a good human being. So, so then you find like guys are like, oh, then you'd rather just not help, because it's like, kind of a situation. So that was a very interesting, thing that, recurrently came up, because it's not the norm. Most guys, we do feel like, oh, that predatory kind of behavior, that's coming into strong,
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I'm just going to drop in something, again, like, back to the first kind of point I spoke about, like men actually want to share about what's going on. But if you don't give me the opportunity to talk, I can't share it. And it's like, yeah, he just doesn't talk, but I don't have the platform to talk because it's not safe, it's not a safe space for me. So, but there's that deep, deep desire to want to say, this is how I feel. Something very interesting happened to me, with regards to, so, you'd mentioned that I'm going to be on the radio and all that. And one of my colleagues in that, within the station said to me, Suze, there was something interesting that happened to him. So women tend to, you see these videos, Chengi was like, tell him he's amazing, he's a king, he's going to do everything, take on the world. And this guy had a mom and a wife that were like, go, you can do it. You're the champion, you're everything. Started suffering from anxiety and then felt depressed, So when talking with my colleague, he's like, this guy, when we were talking about, because I'm like, what's going on? You're not healthy or all these things. And he says, like, there is no room for failure.
Wow.
Because nobody has articulated to me that should I fall apart or should it not work, we got you.
Right.
So because it wasn't articulated,
right,
he's suffering from anxiety every single time something happens because, there's nothing. So they spoke about it and he said, listen, I don't think your wife and your mom's intent is evil, but you need to tell them that this is how they're making you feel. And I guess he got the courage and he went to speak, and they were genuinely surprised and shocked. Like, we thought we were propping you up. We're so sorry that we actually didn't articulate to say, just like you have a child, when you're like, you can do it, but don't worry, you are my champion. And, we can give that person courage to keep going. And it seems so simple, but this man's life was unhinging.
Wow.
Because he just did not have, I guess, permission to fail.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. I love all three. I love that, you mentioned the issue of softness, and this is something that I discuss a lot on my channel, and certainly with the women, that men really desire, they're internally, emotionally way more vulnerable than women are, and women don't understand this. Yeah. And our words, how we use them, the gentleness of spirit is actually so necessary to nurture a man's inside. He doesn't necessarily want you to go buy him expensive gifts and do that, because that's not how men receive in general. Of course, some men have love language, which is gift giving. That's their love language. So go give him a gift, baby, because that's what he wants. But often it's to be appreciated for everything that they do. And it's that soft tenderness and dealing with them during conflict with a kindness of heart. And I feel that as women, we were kind of told that men are like walls, the other piece, of treat him like a king. We don't always know that's pressure too, right? Yeah. And I always say to the ladies, praising a man just because he's a man doesn't feel authentic to him. You've got to praise him when truly you see something of value and that you admire and that you genuinely adore. That means something to him. Everything else feels like pressure. So I really love that last piece of, goodness, it's pressure. You're making it that I can't fail, right? Yeah. So I love that insight. I know you got to go, and I want to let you go in literally 1 minute, because we're gonna have to call you back is the bottom line, young lady. We're gonna have to do this again because there's so much I want to talk to you about. So before I let you go, what do you want to say to the listeners of the Black Swan Life right now? What do you want them to take away as a final thought? We will definitely have you back, because I know you got tons to say. But give us a final thought before we say goodbye and thank you.
I just think that work on perfecting the art of listening. Right. And it is an art, because we are wired to want to respond, and we're already thinking about what's the game plan. How do we just work on the art of actually listening? And you'll be surprised the gems that will come out of whoever is speaking. And you create a safe space just by being. It's quite powerful. That's what I would say to the Black Swan Nation.
And on that final note, would you like to let everybody know where they can find you if they want to follow you and to buy you?
Yeah. The socials, you can find me on Authentically Coaching SA on Instagram, or SUZGO1 on Instagram as well. And there is www.authenticallycoaching.com. And I think for now, that's where you'll be able to find me. We're rejigging a couple of things.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on. The rest of you, I will leave all the links in the bio and all the ways to contact SUZGO. And of course, we're going to have you back again. But thank you so much for joining us, and take care of you. Until next time. Bye.